Netflix?
Yes, over here.
Netflix?
Over here. Right here, yes.
Hi, Netflix.
Yes,
is
the
it?
one and only. Yes,
Wow,
the best
wow.
movies in the world.
Yeah,
Yes.
great.
Yes.
Why the fuck did you cancel N with an E? I need answers now.
Goodness, so violent.
I'm sorry. Wasn't myself for a second there. Yeah. Hi everyone, my name is Yamurai and welcome to my channel. If you're not new around here, welcome back. I'm very thrilled to say that in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing a beloved classic, guys. Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. This book holds such a special place in my heart. It is deeply tied with a lot of childhood memories for me. I learned so much from this book, as it was one of the first books my parents bought for me to read, and I actually enjoyed. I mean, the first book that I read was Peter Pan, which is a classic as well, but this book changed the game for me. This is a timeless tale about an imaginative, fiery, red-headed girl named Anne Shirley and her adventures in the quaint town of Avonlea. So the story begins when Anne Shirley is mistakenly sent to live with Matthew and Marilla Cuthbert. These two are brother and sister, sort of like a duo, but they originally wanted to adopt a boy to help them on the farm because they think they're getting too old and they could use the help. So initially, Marilla and Matthew expected this boy to make their lives easier, but in turn and unexpectedly, they ended up changing Anne's life for the better and doing a lot of good in her life. So back then, there were a lot of horror stories about adopting children from orphanages because of like how violent they would become, quote unquote, because, you know, it wasn't proven. But there were like horror stories floating about. So Anne's arrival definitely led to a lot of struggles, but the struggles were only mostly in the beginning because the community really struggled to accept her or struggled to welcome her with open arms. So Anne has to prove herself to Matthew and Marilla as well as the community to say, hey, like, I'm here. I know what I'm here for. I'm here to belong. I'm here to be loved. And I'm here to change my life, you know. And that's what makes the story so beautiful to me. The book also centers around Anne's lovely and beautiful friendship with Diana Barry, which honestly just stole my heart. They are kindred spirits. They are bosom friends, in Anne's words. They're just so sweet and they love each other so much. Female friendships they just warm my heart, guys. I mean, the story is amazing, but this cherry on top was just perfect. Another plot point is Anne's rivalry with Gilbert Blythe. Now, initially, I thought this was a bit one-sided because Gilbert wasn't really paying attention to the rivalry, or he didn't even know he was in a rivalry with Anne. But at the end of the day, I think it did keep him on his toes, like he was on game every time. But Anne was driven to prove that she was the smartest and she was the best, and she did so. So at the end of the day, it helped her as well. But I do think it made him love and respect her more because, like, she's very ambitious, and if she says she's going to do something, she gonna do it. So yeah, I like that as well. Now we are getting into my favorite part of the video, which is the character analysis. We are briefly going to talk about my favorite characters in the book, or the characters that shaped the book as a whole. It honestly was a team effort. Like, all the characters are integral to the story. Like, no one is like a throwaway or like toss away character. Like, everyone is important. So let's start with my girl, Anne Shirley. So Miss Anne Shirley is the heart of the novel, guys. She has this beautifully creative imagination that sometimes leads her to some troublesome situations, sometimes it leads her to delightful situations. She is exceedingly talkative and expressive. She is a yapaholic, guys. Like, she can talk morning, noon, and night, which can be both endearing and annoying at the same time. I would know because I can yap. I can talk. I can talk all day as well. Like, I will never get tired of it. I can talk about nothing. I can talk about everything. And I do know when when to stop. I have learned when to stop talking, or when to talk. So yeah, I have become self-aware, but my girl Anne is not, which she has to learn sometimes the hard way, but that's all a part of the journey. She is highly intelligent and ambitious. She excels in all her studies, particularly literature and writing. She's a brilliant writer, and she loves to make up stories and, you know, use her imagination to, you know, make up these like fairy tale, romantic, over the top stories. Another thing about Anne Shirley is that she is a sensitive girl. She feels emotions very intensely. And a standout emotion to me was temper. Like, she's very quick to anger. This is highlighted when Anne breaks a slate over Gilbert's head. This is like an iconic scene. Like, if you know about Anne of Green Gables, or you know about Anne Shirley, it's the slate breaking scene. Okay, so Gilbert, who is very crazy for this, calls Anne carrots because he wants to get her attention, and he calls her carrots because her hair is red. So Anne does not stand for this, but she stands on business. She grabs the slate and breaks it over his head, which I was like, good for you. Good for you, girly, because these boys be tripping, okay? But yeah, like, she's very quick to anger. She expresses her emotions like in that moment. Like, she does not wait for tomorrow, for the next day. She does not wait for time to pass by for her to marinate and stew in her emotions. Like, she will let you know how she feels. She is fragile like a bomb. Another moment when Anne expresses her anger is when she says, "I hate you," to one of Marilla's longtime friends and neighbor, Rachel Lind, because Rachel calls her homely and skinny, and she says her hair resembles the color of carrots. So now I guess we see a pattern here. She does not like to be made fun of. She is very prideful. I think in the best ways possible. She's vain in the best ways possible. She doesn't do it to the detriment of other people. She thinks very highly of herself, which is a good thing. And this is something that she probably had to teach herself, since she has no parents to teach her about life and all that. So it's a standout characteristic that I really liked. She thinks very highly of herself. She puts herself up there on a pedestal. And lastly, another thing that stood out to me about Anne was that she is very resilient and determined. Despite her upbringing or tough childhood, she always remains optimistic. She always sees a brighter side of things, a glass half full type of girl. The next character I'm going to talk about very briefly is Diana Barry. So Diana is Anne's bosom best friend, okay? She is Anne's kindred spirit. They even make a friendship oath to make sure that they are friends for life. It's not a blood oath. It's like, just like, I swear that we are gonna be friends forever, like that type of thing. And which they are, like, they're really close. You can tell that they just get each other. The dynamic is just incredible. Anne is like loud and talkative and extroverted and out there, and Diana is like an introverted extrovert, if that makes sense. Like, she understands Anne on a deeper level, and Anne does the same for her. She is fiercely loyal and supportive to Anne. Diana is always along for the ride. She's a ride or die. Diana is also very mild-mannered. Like, she is like a prim and proper lady. She's also, yeah, she's very ladylike and very polite, soft spoken. But like when Anne comes into her life, you can tell over the years there's a bit of a difference. There's like a bit of an opening up for Diana, which I think, you know, Anne's, you know, little touch in Diana's life was needed. Made her see life in a whole different perspective. Next, I'm going to talk about Matthew and Marilla. So Matthew and Marilla are sort of polar opposites, but at the end of the day, their dynamic works, and it works when they're raising Anne as well. Marilla is very stern. She has a very like brick-walled exterior, but she gradually softens to Anne. And towards the end of the book, you can tell she has so much love for Anne. She's, you know, stern on the outside, but very marshmallow soft on the inside. So Marilla's personality contrasts Matthew's personality, because Matthew is very gentle, very father figure to Anne. He warms to her very quickly. Anne thinks they're kindred spirits as well, which I second that. I affirm that notion. But I love their dynamic as well. Like, he's very kind to her, very he takes it easy on her. Like when Marilla is punishing her, he's the one like probably sneaking her sweets and sneaking in to go see if she's fine. Very gentle parenting with Matthew. So next, let's get into Gilbert Blythe. Gilbert is Anne's academic rival. Okay, she does not like that boy. Gilbert is also very smart, very intelligent, slightly competitive, not as much as Anne, but very competitive as well in his own right. He is well liked by all his friends, and you know, he doesn't have family, but he's very well liked by the community in Avonlea. Rachel is very opinionated, very nosy. She wants to know about what's going on in people's lives, but she's well-meaning, really. She is a good soul. That's most of what I can say about her. And lastly, I'm going to talk about Miss Stacy. So Miss Stacy is Anne's teacher, okay? Anne's favorite teacher. Like, she loves Miss Stacy, and rightfully so, because she's ahead of her time. Basically, she has these vastly progressive ways of teaching, very innovative, and I love that she's very eager to share that with Anne and all of her students. She's very empowering and very motivational. So now we're going to talk about the themes and the messages that really stood out to me about the book. The first one is imagination and creativity. So Anne's imagination does lead her to hijinks and adventure. Ultimately, it leads to a lot of joy and inspiration to the people around her. The next theme is belonging and identity. Now, throughout the story, Anne embarks on a journey of self-discovery, really, a journey of finding her true self, finding a place where she belongs in the world. And she finds that in Avonlea, in Green Gables, in Marilla and Matthew, and the community that surrounds her. The final theme is friendship and community. The book stresses the importance of having a strong, supportive community, something that grounds you, which Anne also finds that in Diana and Gilbert, not to mention Marilla and Matthew, but also the community that surrounds her as well. So here are my final thoughts about the novel. I want to start off by saying that this novel is wildly praised by a lot of people who read it, but honestly it's cherished by me for several reasons, really. But I want to start off by talking about L.M. Montgomery's writing. So Lucy's writing is deeply descriptive. It brings the setting of Prince Edward Island to life. Her use of imagery alone allows you to simply close your eyes and picture the beauty of Avonlea. Another thing is all the characters are memorable. I mean, Anne is a well-developed and standout character, as well as the supporting characters. I mean, no one is forgettable. They're all deeply nuanced and contribute significantly to the story. Another thing about Lucy's writing is that she masterfully balances humor, drama, emotional depth. She gives you moral and ethical themes. When you combine that, you realize that she created a narrative that resonates with people globally. She has a story for everyone, and that's why the story is universally adored. I just want to read you guys a quote that really stuck with me from the entire book. I know there's many quotes that I could have chosen from, but this one felt really personal and it was just so beautiful to me. It's very short. It goes, "Because when you are imagining, you might as well imagine something worthwhile." Isn't that so beautiful? Yeah, like it resonates with me because it's giving think big, dream big. Okay, so stop thinking small.
Bitch, you think it's small. We need to be thinking big. You need to be thinking big, bitch.
Like you deserve the best. That's what I take away from the quote. The story in general is very heartwarming. I mean, you get to read about Anne's journey from a misunderstood orphan to a beloved member of the community. At the end of the book, everybody wants the best for her. Everyone is rooting for her success, and I think that's a beautiful story. In conclusion, I think it is very rare for me to find a book that is worth a 5 out of 5 star rating, but I think Anne of Green Gables is deserving in more ways than one. It is a beautifully written novel that captures the essence of childhood and the power of imagination. I mean, what gets better than that? I would highly recommend this to someone who enjoys classic books, classic literature, who enjoys reading about strong female protagonists, someone who loves reading stories about finding your place in the world. If that is you, then this is the perfect book for you. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe for more bookish and movie-ish content, and also let me know in the comments if you enjoyed reading Anne of Green Gables or watching the movies or watching the series, which I'm very upset that they cancelled, but I digress. So yeah, if you loved any of those, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!